So I was thinking what we could do today is first of all choose a matchup to focus on. So that would be, I think you'd mentioned either PVZ being a bit more aggressive or PVT learning Phoenix Colossus.
Yeah, I feel like I need to improve in PvZ or PvT the most. PvP not so much, I mean.
Cool. Well, how about we choose one of those that you're a bit more excited to get better at?
PvT maybe, because I tried the Phoenix Protoss mech style before the probe guide.
Yep.
I wrote down the build order and made one game to test it.
Okay, cool. So you were keen to try out that just kind of straight to sky
Yeah.
toss with just single robo units and batteries and cannons and stuff. That real
Yes.
super defensive one. Okay, cool. I'm not sure if I mentioned as well, but I am a big fan of adding a second robo with that build. So just because it allows you to get a few more of those power units out, so it's a little less fragile, whereas building them just one at a time, if you lose one of those Colossus or get those disruptors caught out a little, it's it's a little tough. But at the
Yeah.
same time, getting the
Yeah.
air units up very quickly is part of the power spike, and that's part of the idea, right? So it's an interesting one. Well, how about we just take a look at your first attempt at that so we can get a replay up? So I am on EU. I'm in chat channel Piggy. I typed it to you on Discord. So if you just go /join space Piggy, and you should see just me and a few other people chilling in there. Beautiful.
Okay.
I'll shoot you an invite, and I'll make you the party leader so you can show.
Yeah, I didn't have a the replay because I just played against the EA.
Yeah, no
with
worries.
another account. I don't have the replay yet. I mean, I write
it's
down
on a
the build
different account.
order. I just made a try and quit half the game. I mean, just did the build order.
Right. So you haven't actually played it on ladder at all yet.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, how about, you know what? Do us a favor. Let's just open your most recent ladder game. Any recent ladder game over 5 minutes, just so I can see you playing.
Okay.
And obviously, we don't care too much about the build. It's just so I can see you playing. I always like to just
PvT.
Yeah, PvT is good, but any matchup goes. Honestly, I just want to get a feel for you as a player a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's not too important what we look at. Just
I'll search a good one at least.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can see the game time, anything over 5 minutes should be good.
Maybe this.
All right. And just make me the lobby host once we're in there.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. So the reason I wanted to get this up is just so I could just see you playing. Don't really care what happens. So I don't really want you to look at that replay. I want you to look at the notes if you can. So notice you mentioned you're already using rapid fire. Do you use that for all of your warp gate units, or like is it just for zealots?
No, all the units, but not any ability. Because as a Protoss, I feel like I don't need to have a rapid fire on abilities.
I absolutely agree. I don't like. Some people are like, "Oh, what if you need to do force fields quickly?" And I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here! I don't want. I can do a wave of force fields without using rapid fire. Thank you very much." Do you know how hard it would be to not just have them all on top of each other like with rapid fire? It would be so messy. I think it's way better.
Also with Phoenix, with lift, I tried with rapid fire. I lift all the worker. Any Phoenix was shooting the workers.
I mean, that's something you could definitely learn to just like only wave it over so many SCVs. So I can actually understand that if you're going 2-star Phoenix a lot. I guess that's one of the reasons where it would make sense. It would make sense. Does Roddy use it? Because Rotterdam is the most manual old man who uses the most outdated mechanics. Still doesn't use camera hotkeys in 2021, I'm pretty sure.
I just tried camera hotkeys in these days because I didn't use since last week any camera hotkeys myself.
And what camera hotkeys did you use? Did you using just the normal like F1 up to F8 or?
Yes, because I have the F2 on the side button
Is it the
next to
tilde,
the
the
one.
like squiggly line, the little tilde?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay. And where did you move idle workers to?
You just click the button on the screen.
Me
With
too. Me too. And you can do you control click it if you want to select all of them?
yes, yes, but I don't have to use it very much because I'm really focused on give probes over instruction when I tell them to do something.
Perfect. I think that's great then. Yeah, I find with Protoss it's only if the game gets crazy. Like if there's like multiple Widow Mine drops with armory and you don't have
Yeah.
detection or something, then maybe I can forget about a bunch of probes sitting somewhere, but it's pretty rare. So
Sometimes I lost my army or all my disruptor because I'm telling probes to do stuff and not paying attention to the army or the engagement.
yeah. So I mean
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's pretty awesome then, but you've only been doing it for a few days, did you say?
yeah, like a week or two. I
Okay.
just changed my hotkeys and trying to feel confident with it. I
So this
use now in the
yeah.
games. I just put all the 4 cameras, and in the early game I use a bit, but not very much in the longer games.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the problem. So check out. This is why
Yes.
you'd already mentioned you've tried this in the past and you never really stick with it and you always go back to the base mechanics.
Yeah.
So that's why I was rereading your email and your notes before we started, and I'd already wrote out all these notes here in the document because there really is the right way to learn and the wrong way to learn. And I mean, I must have spoken to thousands of players at this point who not everyone who I've coached, but even just people in Twitch chats who say the same thing. You know, I try to do it and I always go back to the old mechanics. And there's one thing which I realized because I had the same issue. When I was trying to learn mechanics, I started trying to change things in late 2012 when I was in the Prime House in Korea. And the guys there were like, look, I was using a very old inject method. And they were like, this is just a really awkward way of injecting. You're wasting too much time. And they're like, you should do it this way. They gave me a really shit way, by the way. They gave me the backspace technique. They're like the just spamming one. It's a terrible technique. So it's kind of funny. Goes to show the Zergs weren't particularly high level in that house. They were okay. So the thing is, like, I tried to kind of use the new mechanic, and I'd always be like, I never would get good enough, and I'd go back because I didn't have the right learning mindset. And it wasn't until I totally revamped all of my hotkeys that because it was such a drastic change, it kind of forced me to learn the proper way because I was literally changing everything. And that's kind of lucky for me because that taught me how quickly you can learn if you do it the right way. So it doesn't mean you need to change anything else, but what you do need to do is you need to reinforce the new technique. And what you're doing is you have a neural connection, a neural pathway in your brain, right? Where there is StarCraft is all stimulus and response, right? So you see something, what are my drops on the minimap entering my main? Shit, and you click on your minimap and you pull your probes, right? That's what you do at the moment.
Yes.
Now, if you think about it, we need to reprogram that to go F1, pull probes, select army group, A, move it up here. But getting to do that in the early game, where you're just jumping between to transfer probes, you've gotten good at that. But taking it to the later stages, when you see a Widowmine drop, well, no, because you know you're going to be slower at it on a conscious or subconscious level, doesn't matter. Your instincts want to win the game. So you know the better way to win the game is to use the mechanic that you're good at, clicking the minimap, because it's natural, it's fast, and that's a deep neural pathway. That is the set response. The problem is, if we do that, even 1 in 2, 1 in 3 times when we get dropped, you undo all your hard work. Every single time you do that, you've just ruined all your hard work leading into that moment. So you need to only use the new moment. So if I was you, let's go to this replay. So look at the replay, just to give this example. Imagine there's a Widowmine drop going into your base right now. And this is the point, and you've clicked back and you go, and you pull your probes. If I was you learning camera hotkeys, what I would then do is I would go, shit. I would realize what I've done because I haven't used the proper mechanic. And you know what I would do? I would put all the probes
Yes,
back
I
to mining.
realized during the game, but
Yeah.
I Yeah, I just click the minimap and do stuff.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, if you do that, what you should do, if even if you put the probes, if I were you, I would put the probes back to mining in the widow mines. I would let them all fucking die, and then I would go back to where I
Okay.
was on the map to my warp prism, and then I would press F1, and then I would pull the probes away and do it again, because that ability to purposefully lose a game, that is the most important thing. It's got to move your focus from winning to learning, and you need to slow yourself down and make sure you only use the new mechanic. And that is the hardest thing for a competitive StarCraft player to do. But if you don't do this, there is no point learning it because you will never learn how to use your camera hotkeys properly. And all it will do is make you a worse player because sometimes you'll use the old mechanic, sometimes you'll use the new mechanic. So this is the force multiplier. If you start sacrificing games like that, that is a hard lesson. Walking your probes back into the Widow Mine and going back and then trying to do the mechanic properly. But if you do that, I tell you what, within like 1 week, you're fucking remembering. You like so quickly, you will be there and you'll have that impulse to go back and click on the minimap and you will catch yourself and you go, wait, take a deep breath, F1, pull probes. And you'll still be a little bit slower than clicking the minimap. But by the second week or the third week of doing it, you're already more natural with F1 because you've reprogrammed the neural pathway. But if any time you give in to that impulse to click on the minimap and just do it and go, no, let's just try to win the game, you've undone all your hard work. So that's the real powerful thing. If you really want to do this, and this is why I often tell people you don't have to learn camera hotkeys, because doing that is beyond most people. Most StarCraft players can't do that. They just cannot put away winning for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They can't do it. They just cannot do it. The idea of doing that is too painful for them. But that's whenever we learn something hard, we're not asking what do we want, because of course you want to be good at camera hotkeys. That's, I know you want to. The question is, are you willing to sacrifice that many games to get there? So that's what you need to really commit to if you want to take this to the next level, is only use the new mechanic. Anytime you catch yourself doing the old mechanic, go back and do it again. Go back, put the units back, or redo it from scratch as if you were using the new mechanic, and you want to visualize that in your practice. So anytime you catch yourself in a replay or after a game and you see yourself doing the old mechanic, you go, oh shit, okay. And you imagine you're in that situation, and even looking at a replay, you can imagine F1, box probes, move them away. I'm doing this right now, looking at this replay as if I'm the one learning. I'm putting myself in your shoes. So it's you want to be practicing it both in game and in your head as much as possible. And if you do that in a really organized fashion, it feels slow, it feels painful, and it feels like there's no progress happening. And that is what real learning feels like. So if it feels very slow, that's good because it means that you're actually making progress. But if you're not doing that and you're jumping between new mechanic, old mechanic, you just won't get better at it. So that's the really important thing, I think, for you to just kind of really focus on as a player. If you want to learn camera hotkeys, it's a really hard process. It's a big commitment because it's a few weeks of kind of tearing up all your old habits and throwing them away and just getting rid of them and just never using them again. And it's really hard to do that and kind of reprogram yourself. But if you do it in that organized way, you can actually do it, like I said, within 2 weeks, you can get back to where your MMR was. Within 3 weeks, you can be like really efficient. If you don't do it that way, you can go 3-4 months and you'll still be kind of mixing and matching two different mechanics, and it'll just slow you down and confuse you in some situations where you kind of use one mechanic, then you kind of use another one. So yeah, I think that's the one big powerful thing. If you really want to learn those camera hotkeys, that is the one thing. Don't care about winning, accept that you will probably drop up to 500 MMR, and that's part of the learning process, because what are you doing? You're not caring about winning. You're caring about using the mechanic, right? And you can do a little bit of focused practice to improve that, right? Where you just hop in custom games. There's like a location hotkey trainer mod where it just gives you some bases and these little harassment overlords keep coming in and you just have to run your probes away from each base. There's a few little things like that that can help speed it along. But for the most part, just getting in ladder games and all these different situations. Oh shit, it's a Liberator. Oh shit, it's a Baneling drop. Oh shit, it's a Widow, or oh, I got to pull the probes to fight. I'm fighting outside my natural and I need to go F2, box the probes in my natural, F3, right click them on the minerals on my third base, Okay, they're going through the Zerglings, attack move to surround the Zerglings, that sort of thing. It's programming all those little habits in there to use the camera location keys for moving probes around, for defending, running away from harassment, jumping to a base to micro against a drop, all of those sort of things. And yeah, I think it's amazing how it almost feels like it's, if you give in to how painful and hard this process is, it happens really quickly. But if you keep mixing and matching, it's a never ending path of just confusion and frustration.
Okay, that's cool. Also, I thought to change to learn the core layout on the keyboard. Because I have a not really big hand, and also in the Italian layout, the shift on the left is really small. Also,
Italian keyboard layout. Let me just take a look at this.
yeah, we have a shift, really a small button on the left,
Okay.
and big one on the right.
Oh, okay. Well, if you use the right, okay, so you find it a little
I
bit
use
awkward
the
with that
left,
shift.
but
Yeah.
I almost have my pinky always on the shift, so I can't move my hand very much. I reach barely the 6 number on the keyboard.
Right. Okay. I think that's okay, to be honest. I don't think you really need to reach beyond 6. I mean, if you want to use
I just
patrol.
added another control group on Q. I
Oh, okay.
I wanted to use that to learn to steal units from control groups, because I don't actually use it to, I don't know, make a run by with zealot and remove from hotkey, just adding on the Q.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you use spacebar for anything?
No, because I used it to the camera hotkeys to shift around bases, but I removed it since I added the camera hotkeys on the F1, F4.
Cool. Well, you can actually potentially use those for other control groups. Is like caps lock and spacebar as well as Q. So Q is
Yeah.
actually really good as a control group, even because it's so close to like 1, 2, 3 where you're used to pressing. So it can be kind of nice. You could even use that as a control group. You could use spacebar as like a dumping key potentially, where it just steals units onto control group 0 just by pressing spacebar, and then you don't need to actually press anything else. Because that's what you were doing with Q, right? You said it was like just to steal zealot run bys away and stuff. So
Yeah, I added to do this, but I don't actually do it in the game.
yeah,
So I mean, it's a new stuff I need to learn still.
it's a good thought. I really like it. Caps lock, like I said, is another key you could use there. So caps lock, Q, and spacebar, all really accessible. If you feel you need more control groups or anything, go for it. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think they're all like,
because
yeah,
to control my units, I prefer to have everything divided in control groups. The basic army, the casters, or maybe the prism, the oracle. So in the late game, I feel like I need at least 4 control groups, and I have only 3, because I have the Nexus on the 4.
okay, yeah. I mean, I think just make Q or caps lock an extra key is what I would say. And then you could use spacebar as the dumping key.
Yeah.
So that's the one where you just press spacebar. You don't need to do alt spacebar or anything like that. Like with Q, you made it so it's just press Q, right? You don't need to actually press alt Q or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm.
I think yeah. I honestly 4 control groups is about as many as most people can manage. So if I think about what I do with Protoss, I've got main army, then I've got my secondary army, bam bam. If I have extra, like say I have disruptors as well as High Templar, the disruptors will just go in the main army, or they'll just follow my units. Like I'll just manually control them. Then I'll have my Oracle key, bam bam bam. Yeah, and then I guess what do I use on that key? Do I not use that key? I think there's one of my main keys. I'm not sure if I use that for anything as Protoss. But then I have my drop defense / run by squad down here. I think there's a key that I'm not using for anything as
Yeah,
Protoss.
also because I the run bys, I don't put them in groups, but versus Terran, since I use Blink DTs sometimes, I need to put them in some control groups, or I lost 10 DTs for free.
Yeah, you got to micro those a little more, right? A bit more of
Yeah.
an investment than 10 zealots. I mean, even controlling those zealots, I think is since they got changed, so they don't do as much damage, but they're so fast. I think the power of zealot run bys these days is to like just threaten, right? It's like they run in, oh, he's there, he stims, run away, only lose one zealot. That's one of the best ways to use zealot run bys is just constantly have these packs of zealots running around the map. Because like if they say you have 10 zealots run into 2 medevacs worth of bio in a corner of the map, I mean, if he doesn't micro, your zealots are going to kick the shit out of those bio units, right? But if he micros, they're going to kick the shit out of you. So if there's enough going on in a PvT, I feel like often Protoss can win just by like forcing zealots to kind of be all around and go, oh, he's microing this, run away. But then you're attacking in other places, and like it just makes it really fucking hard for the Terran to actually kind of micro and macro at the same time and keep up with everything without just getting caught by a big disruptor shot or screwing up and
Yeah.
forgetting to add more upgrades and this sort of stuff. So definitely it's like I think there was a parting TY map I always think of from like the start of last year where parting did it so brilliantly. I think it was like on Eternal Empire or something, but it was just amazing because like it felt like maybe it was against Maru actually. Might have been Maru, not TY. But I just remember it was like it feels like, the Protoss units should lose every fight, but then he just created enough engagements over and over again in enough areas of the map that it's like the Terran just couldn't micro everywhere and started losing all these fights really badly because bio is so fragile. But anyways, back to the mechanical thoughts to wrap that up before we can probably talk about the build order a bit more now and move on. I think honestly, just the camera hotkeys is a big process in of itself. If you just focus on that and you try to like really embrace that mindset that I mentioned about using the new mechanics, like that's huge. So I think if you want, you could try to use Q as a custom group. Maybe you can make spacebar a dumping key. But honestly, if you just focus on the camera locations, that's such a game changer. If you can embrace that and do it well, you will become such a better player. Like just
Yeah,
an
because
amazingly better.
the biggest problem now, I feel like I'm too slow to do stuff, multitask things. Because to macro, you have to click minimap, then move my my visual with just moving the mouse,
Yeah.
and it's too
It's
slow.
it's awkward. Yeah, it's absolutely awkward. Changing your rally points, moving probes around, it's all super slow. Like, I remember when I first
Yeah.
learned camera locations and got used to using 6 camera locations, 5 for bases, 1 for a rally point or a proxy. What I found so cool was I actually started to like realize how much easier it was to take expansions in a high intensity game because I'd always just move my new camera location to like a newer base. So it's just like the ability to, while fighting on the other side of the map, jump to my natural selected probe, jump to my third, build a nexus in the blink of an eye. And it's like this same thing, exact same actions, no mouse accuracy involved. Because the mineral line's always in the same spot. I just need to like box the probes and then tell them to build a nexus. And, my camera locations are already in the right spot. It just made expanding so much easier. It made pulling away in chaotic situations so much easier as well from like workers getting hit by harassment or being pulled to fight. So I think that'll be massive for you if you can get that going. Like it's going to be a real game changer. Cool. So all right, let's talk PvT then, shall we? Let's get into that matchup. And obviously, like if you're working on these mechanics, build orders and things are totally secondary, right? Like maybe you want to do even simple game plans for a little bit while you focus more on just the mechanics or something. You could do both at the same time. It's up to you. Now, obviously, we could just look at this game just as an example. You're trying to do a DT drop, which doesn't work out very well. And
Yeah.
then we can talk about the other build after this one. But I think this is just DT drop into Raven, right? So this is just worst case scenario.
Yeah, because I think like he see the robo in the wall and just assume it is DT.
Maybe some people just always go Raven as well. Anyway, right? So
Yeah.
could just be his build. You actually could have done a lot more damage though. So check this out.
Yeah, this game I played really poorly in general, I feel.
Yeah, so a bit slow with that DT. If you just turn that around, pick that up, that would have been good. Or if even you just
Yeah.
ran it away, and
I remember I clicked the prism, but I misclicked just on the ground.
ah,
And
yeah, okay, you thought he was gonna hop inside, right? And then you absolutely still should have gone for the main because even though there's a Raven, you find with Raven builds, right? There's not many actual units around. It's just 9 Marines, 4 of which are in a bunker, or 3 of which are in a bunker. So it's 6 Marines. And there's like, okay, a few more Marines and Marauders are going to come out. But if you get into that main base, his units aren't there. So you could have flown straight into the main base and just dropped your DTs in there. And you still could have done a fair amount of damage here. So I think that's a big missed opportunity for you. The only
yeah,
other thing,
usually
yeah,
I just drop a 3DT, one on the natural, two on the main. Then I Archon drop with DTs against Terran to force him home and do a timing with 1-1 on 3 bases, Zealot, 3 Mortal, and things.
cool. Yeah, and I think that's a good way to play. However, obviously we fucked up really bad with our pressure this game, right? We mixed that. And then we even clicked it on the bunker. Like that was really derpy. But what's your game plan if you're behind in PvT? Like I have a lot of comeback game plans in each matchup of like, okay, if I'm way behind, usually what I think about is, okay, they're going to do a push and they're just going to have more stuff than me. So for me, what I always do if I'm way behind is I always think about what I call a defensive all in, where basically you're saying, let's just commit everything to have an awesome army. So we kind of make it look a bit like we're playing a normal build. But the whole idea is just to crush that one push out from my opponent. And then I'm back in control of the game, whether I then swing across the map to kill them or I go for something else, So what I see here from you, though, is like a bit of a mix and match. You're kind of doing a lot of different things where it feels like you were just playing your completely normal follow-up. So I feel like you'd made no adjustment, even though you lost your DTs, right? Without doing any damage.
Yeah.
So that's a huge mistake because like his third command center has just started. So think about this in perspective. He's on 2 base for a really long time.
I wanted to warp more units, but I macroed bad, and I just had 3 gates, so I can't warp as much units. So I'm forced to just play a bit a macro game myself, and
Yeah,
hope he doesn't attack me.
which is a terrible plan because Terran's always going to
Yeah.
attack you. That's an awful plan, right? Unless you get one of these weird Terrans who just never moves out because they're too traumatized by dying to charge zealots. Like, so if we can look at this and it's like, okay, double forge, that's way greedier than we need, right? Third base is a good idea. Definitely don't take any more gas. But a general game plan for me, after I lose that first drop, I'd already be going down that track. I'd be like, oh man, this doesn't look too great, right? But
Yeah.
I'd be going single forge only, definitely not the second forge. And I'd be trying to get those gateways up as quick as possible, right? I mean, in general, that's like one of those set pieces of Protoss, right? Is if you can be as close to your supply cap as possible without actually getting blocked or not blocked too hard, and then you're on 3 gateways, get your next 5 or 6 gateways going all at once, probably 6 gateways, because you're going to be very heavy on zealots in this next fight. It depends. If you've got a few immortals and sentries, maybe not as heavy. But yeah, like you actually here instead though, look at what you focus on. You get a second forge, which could be a gateway. And then check this out. We've got a pylon finishing, but you build 2 more pylons. These 2 pylons are a huge mistake up here because we just don't need these pylons in the north of the map right now. You've got free supply. You don't need to be building units right now. You need to be making 5 gateways, right? So scrap a forge, scrap the warp prism because that's not going to help us survive. And that's all you need to be thinking about right now is just surviving, right? Yeah, and so that's a gateway. That shield battery is terrible, right? I love the random shield batteries when we're in a normal game, just as insurance. It's always good to have a shield battery at each base. But when you're behind, you can't afford a no reason shield battery because that's not going to help us unless we have enough units with it. So as a general rule, we always like when we're behind, what actually kills a 2-base Terran push? Just having enough charge zealots, right? If you're going a charge zealot style, it's just having enough charge zealots. And that means getting your gateways up early enough. So you've just got to have more focus on if you're behind, even if you cut probes here for a moment, cut the warp prism, only get 1 forge, don't be building extra pylons, get your 5 gateways going, then build one of these pylons, then go back to probing, then start your +1 attack upgrade, then start your warp prism or your immortal. If you did it that way, you could have absolutely held this counter push from your opponent, and he could have said, fuck, Protoss is unfair. Like, he loses all his DTs, he does nothing, and he fucking stops my push. Like, this is bullshit. But the truth of the matter is, like, his push, while it's not bad, it's not that beefy, and there's not that many Marines with it, which are the real zealot killers. So if you like get some force fields, you get a good flank on it, etc., like you'd be really good. But in general, I think a lot of players play worse when they're behind. And I think one of the things you want to do is you want to have like a really tight game plan for when you're behind. And I think against Terran, the easiest one is just heavy minerals, fast gateways, lots of zealots. And if we can defend that first push efficiently, then we can add gases and probes and second forges and whatever the hell else we want to go for. But you can imagine here, yeah, you got like 2 rounds of zealot warp-ins by this point. Even 1 round of zealots with those units, and it would have made a big difference. The prism can come in after that and all the rest of it. But I think having that from behind game plan gets you back into a lot of PVTs.
Yeah, I feel like I'm too greedy in general in choose the strategy and the follow-up in every matchup, really. Because if I'm in a bad situation or where I don't like my position, I just tend to macro really hard and not have a good army.
Yeah, and like I think that can get you back into games as well. Like watching your games when you were playing the other day, right, versus the big Terran armies, and like you were getting sieged down, and yet you were still taking a 5th base while like losing fights.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, what the hell? But you also missed some opportunities to jump on top of the siege tanks and clear them out. Where if you just warped in some zealots and jumped on it, you could have got rid of the push. So it was this interesting thing where I can tell you've got these good macro habits. And I think with good shield battery usage, like cannons and stuff, and good macro, that can be a really good boon. I would say don't abandon the macro completely. Just focus on a really simple unit set, right? So like if you can say, well, look, I'm still going to go for a quick 3rd mineral line here if I can. Maybe I'll just cut production when I see him moving out or something like that. Or maybe in this case, like a general rule, I would say, right, I'm going to stop at 8 probes on my 3rd base minerals if they don't have a quick 3rd CC, right? Because he's doing a 3 barracks play, right? It's always going to be a big push. So if you can shut that push down, then you can probe up as much as you want. So I might be like, just stop at 8 probes on the 3rd, get all my gateways down, blah, blah, blah. And then I can maybe add some probes back in between zealot warp-ins, right? And all that sort of stuff. But the idea of just simplifying it, because you were building Prism, multiple immortals, sentries, double upgrades, and zealots, it was a real confused sort of army, right? Where it was like, immortals and sentries can do well if you've got like stalkers, especially with blink, right? Because then you can kind of just keep force fielding and keep them back, all about the force fields. But you didn't really have that. So you were just kind of building this mix and matched army of like, yeah, some of this, some of that, bit upgrades, bit of that.
Yeah.
So especially when you're behind, that ability to just say, mass zealot, that's what we're doing. 1 sentry for guardian shield, mass zealot, let's go. You know, like a few stalkers and that's it. Like really simplify your game plan. It's so powerful, man. It's super, super powerful.
Yeah. So if I use the gas to build Archons instead of sentry, maybe I should do it.
Yeah, or even pull off your 3rd gas is something I might have done. Because I might have been like, look, I'm behind. I'll often, if I'm behind against a Terran, I'm like, fuck, I only need 2 gases, man. Because I'm just going to make like all I care about is winning this next fight. I can't afford a Templar Archives until I've got all my gateways down, right? Building a Templar Archives before that would be crazy. I mean, you got the DT Shrine. They're very expensive. I guess you could build 1 or 2 DT Archons. They're not my favorite unit because they cost so much, but yeah, you could even pull off that 3rd gas and just put them on minerals at this base as it finishes. And that could be really powerful. Like, the thing is with that sort of play, if the Terran gives you a fight, it's like the dream, right? You're like, please come, let me take a good fight. Because obviously, if you're just massing Zealot, that's not a long-term composition. But as long as you get a fight with it, it's going to work out well. It's going to work out really well for you. So yeah, it's just, I think anytime you try to just play normal from behind, it's usually not a very good idea. There's got to be something that gets cut, right? There's got to be some real focus on the power point of your build, whatever that is. And usually as a Protoss player, no matter what your build is, it's get those gateways up. That gateway explosion into the pylons after the gateway explosion is so huge, because the real inefficiency for me, it's like something across as all matchups is, look at this. It's like, look at your supply. Just look at that extra supply we're going to have as these 2 pylons finish. Then you're going to have the 3rd nexus finish. And it's like, for me, if you don't have your gateways and you have more than like 7 supply free, I'm like, bad macro, you know? Like, we want to be hugging that supply cap and getting that going. And that's, if you do that nicely, man, it's good. But anyways, so you wanted to work on the kind of probe style of play, but you haven't really had a chance to work on it just yet, and play any games with it. So I guess you've already got a build order, but without repetitions in it, I don't know if there's too much coaching we could really do of it, other than just throw you into a potential game if you have a practice partner.
This session, I prefer to just play I used to play Colossus opening with Robo, Fast Colossi, 3 Observer, and go to macro game.
3 Colossi Observer, and that was Robo first, like Robo 3 gate opening?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, 3 gate, Robo into +1 and charge. I defend the Terran push, or maybe if they are greedy, I push myself. And goes to double Robo Disruptor, blink, charge, and
that's a very good build for killing Terran as well, where if you don't go double Robo, you can just off 3 base just make a few Archons and just kill them.
Yeah,
if they especially if you kill their earlier push, it's like a very powerful way to attack. It's just you don't have much
yes.
You don't have any anti-drop. You don't have Blink Stalkers yet, and you don't have Phoenix, so you need to make sure your observers see if they're dropping you, because your army's very immobile, but it's got a good kill timing as well. And that's a very solid way to play, very observer focused, right? It's all about your map vision, seeing everything so you can be in the right position. That style can struggle against Raven pushes. I find the way I always dealt with that was just dodging the interference matrix with Warp Prism. I would always at least stop one of the interference matrices by picking up my Colossus in the fight and then dropping it again. But yeah, generally I was using that for a long time, until recently I moved away from it to Phoenix Colossus opening, just to try something a bit new. Yeah, that's cool. So what do you want to do for the rest of the session? Should we try to get a practice partner and hop in a game? Should we look at some Protoss versus Zerg and plan that matchup out? I mean, where do you want to go?
I think, yeah, maybe I try 1 or 2 games with this style against Terran.
Cool. Do you have a practice partner or someone online right now who you could get to play against, or?
I can ask.
Yeah, see if you can find someone.
Teams player is online.
The other alternative, something I've been doing a little bit more, which is very fun, is sometimes coaching just ladder games through Discord can be very fun. If you don't have Discord Nitro, I think the quality might suck. Though I had someone do it the other day, and I don't think they had Nitro, and it was really nice quality. But we could always try that as well. So if no one responds, it's cool because I can watch the first-person viewpoint.
Try it.
Okay, cool. So I would have to just quickly log out of...
We need to go to a server.
Oh, actually, yes. I don't need to log out. I can just do it here. I can just... So basically, you would need to click share your screen.
Yes.
And I'll need to leave party.
Okay.
So if you click share your screen and do that, and what I'll need to do so that the stream can actually see what the hell's going on is find where that monitor display is. Streaming monitor display capture. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That looks pretty good quality. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so yeah, maybe just search a ladder game if you want, and we can do it that way. I see Pippins was there responding to you. What was he saying?
Yeah, I was asking if I'm doing the coaching.
Ah, okay, cool. All right. So yeah, if you want to just queue ladder games, we
Yeah, I'll
can watch a
try.
game or two. Awesome. I let me just check how much time do we have left. We've got about just under 20 minutes left, so this should be good. All right.
Okay. Oh, Zerg.
Da, da,
I play
da.
double Stargate Phoenix, usually into Skytos.
Okay, awesome.
Good luck and have fun. You're gonna need it. Minerals now. Get them.
So I'll mute myself for the most part. I'll just write some notes down. But if I want to say something at some point, I'll be like, I'll say something. But otherwise, I'll just shut up, pay attention to some notes, and we can talk about it after the game. Good luck, mate.
Minerals now. Get them.
Can you hear me, dude? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, just checking. You guys can see everything okay? How's it look? Obviously, it's not going to be perfect quality. We are watching his stream, but let me know. How's it look? What? Is this okay? I've got my phone opening up as my preview right now, so.
Not enough minerals. Minerals now.
Oh, that's funny. We've got chat sitting on top of the game. Right. Other than that, it looks okay, though. I don't think it's blocking anything important, right? So I literally just threw this over. All right. Perfect. Okay. Let me just rotate that. So it looks okay, guys. I've got it open on my phone now. Let me open the document here on my PC. So did he say 2-star Phoenix into Colossus, guys? Because that's a real weird style. I'm gonna write some notes for the PVT. It does look okay. Yep, medium quality, blah, blah, blah. Are we invisible now? No, you guys can still see your words on screen. So good. Skytoss first Zerg. Every time. Hey, Pippo.
Now. Get them.
Oh, into Carrier. I thought he said Colossus. Okay. So it's 2-star Phoenix into Skytoss. Okay. So how well will he use his cannon battery, I wonder? How you doing, Pippins? Thank you for that. Okay. 2-star Phoenix into Skytoss. Okay, so when behind... So notes for the PVT was when behind focus on a simple army. I like mass charge lot. So what are some of the things? Just 2 to 3 gases max. Only single upgrade.
Minerals now.
You know,
Little pros.
pause stuff to get your gateways up ASAP if needed. Hug your supply count. Only add pylons after going up to 8 to 10 gates. Let's just say 8 gates plus. Look to crush a push with a flank. And only then go to the next step of, which might be like, I don't know, extra gas, upgrades, splash damage, etc. So those are some good notes for the PVT. Let's pay a little bit more attention to this game now. For those of you just tuning in, we are coaching a 5300 Protoss player. And I haven't been paying too close attention, but it looks like we've blocked the base. We're going to get a creep tumor snipe. Quite a lot of Zerglings have been forced. We saw 4 in the main. Now there's 4 at the third, which is awesome. We should be really careful that we have a unit in our wall right now. Because if he doesn't have a unit in his wall... Okay, he does. Good. Just checking. I was like, please tell me that Adept's wedged properly. The health bars gross me out, by the way. I fucking hate these colored health bars. They're so disgusting. I don't know why. I just hate them. Obviously, that's like personal preference. I just, ugh, gross. Anyways, I like 1 Void Ray into 2-star Phoenix. I think it's really good. I think in the current meta though, like, I feel like I would destroy this style. It all comes down to how quick those Phoenix hit. If they can get in and start killing drones and then pick up like my first few Hydras, maybe no. But like people who do a rush to lair and Hydras are going to kick some ass. why are you watching a stream? I wanted to watch a live game so I could see where the mouse is moving. Even though you can't see the cursor, you can see when boxes are dragged and where the clicks are. So it really gives me a feeling for how the player controls, and it really lets me get in their mindset of a live game and go, hey, let's actually watch. This is actually shared through Discord. So that's cool. Good adept control here. Needs to get the third down though.
We need more Artosis pylons.
Yeah, you can see really quite fast mechanics, but terrible technique, right? So like mouse accuracy is so sick because he doesn't use camera locations. He doesn't even double tap like Nexus hotkey to jump to his main. So because of that, his mouse accuracy is great. It's just crazy how much mouse movement he has to do and how much mouse accuracy. And he's identified this. We at the start of today's coaching session had a long talk because he said he's tried camera hotkeys in the past. He's trying it again, but he always goes back to the old thing. And I gave him a long talk and I had a full list I wrote out even before the coaching started saying, this is how you learn. And I really was quite harsh there. Someone was saying, well, Pig would be a savage dad and stuff, you know, like joking in chat. But it's totally true where I'm like, look, there's two ways to learn. It's either you fucking do it properly or you don't do it at all. Because otherwise, all you're doing is putting yourself through pain for no payoff. And that's essentially what he was doing, where he's like, yeah. Well, I use the camera locations. I set them up at the start and then I use them for early probe transfers. And then I don't really use them for the rest of the game. And I was like, yeah, that's not learning camera hotkeys. All you're doing is going, well, I hope at some point I'll start using these, but you're not. Because you have not set it up in a way that you're actually going to learn. So basically, it's all stimulus response. And what he's constantly doing by quote unquote trying to learn it that way is he's just reinforcing the old habit over and over. So I basically told him, look, that hard part is you've got to tear up the floorboards, get rid of those old habits completely. Just get rid of them. And I gave him a good talk about that where I was like, if you catch yourself doing it in heat of the moment, go back and redo it. Undo what you just did with the old mechanic and redo it with the new mechanic. And if it makes you lose the game, or if it means, and I was giving him the example of, okay, you've jumped back to pull probes away from a Widow Mine drop. I was saying, if I did that and I was trying to learn, I would run my probes back to the mineral line. I'd put them back to mining. I'd let the Widow Mines kill them. And then I would go back to where I was on the map, and then I would use the camera location to jump back and then pull the probes. And that sounds crazy, but I'm like, well, that's the only way. Like, you've got to punish yourself for using the old mechanic, and that's going to make you remember to not do that. You're going to remember in future, nope, actually fucking use the use the mechanic that I'm trying to learn. Don't just use what's easy and what I'm used to doing. Because the more you use what you're used to doing, the more you'll slow down your improvement. Okay, so this is like the carrier charge lot builder. Okay, yeah, I can get behind this for sure. Because you can like, oh, there's a quick Hydra timing. You can just be like, spam charge lots. Kind of surprised there's so many cannons on the third so early though. I kind of feel like those should be a little more reactive. So 4 cannons on third seems a bit much. Should only add those after the gate explosion, if possible. So, Scout with Phoenix saw gases on... I guess we didn't see the gases on the natural yet. So we did see lots of drones, though. We saw lots of drones, lots of drones, lots of queens. Generally a defensive setup. Now, I know a lot of people... But aren't queens good for attacking? Question mark? Scout the third mineral line to confirm. That, the drone count, tells you everything you need to know as a Protoss player. So wait a second. Oh, so he's not going charge, he's just going storm, is he? Oh, okay. Okay, I realize we're actually skipping charge and just going storm here. Oh, yeah, a few big storms. What's with his control groups? Does he not have storm yet? Oh, he just got storm. Why did he fight if he didn't have Psystorm? There was no... he wasn't losing anything except a cannon or two. Oh, it was a horrendous engagement. Ignore previous point. Okay. Oh, right. Did you think Storm was
Okay.
done? Why'd you fight? Storm wasn't ready.
Yeah, I needed to hold the natural, I feel.
Yeah, so
Uh,
just give up. Let them come deep. If you let him kill your natural wall, what do you lose? 2 gateways. Cybercore. Who cares? So there was no need for you to fight there at all. That was a good timing from him. Our Phoenix should have been more active on the map and seen it coming earlier. But whenever you're in a hard position with carriers, the way you win, patience, man. Patience. Just pull back and wait for Psystorm. When it's that close, just wait for Psystorm. You know, you should be jumping into your Templar archives and clicking on it and going, okay, and checking how far along that upgrade is. So you could have held that. I'm quite sure with the amount of Psystorm you had. Just be putting down more cannons and batteries further back in the natural, right? So as the front dies, hopefully some more finish. Don't be engaging and just wait for that Psystorm to kick in. Because if you're rushing Psystorm like this, like there is that such a sharp difference right at that moment. Also, your Phoenix should be cutting off the rally. They should always be cutting off the rally because right, either you're fighting straight away and your Phoenix are engaging with your army, or your Phoenix are cutting off the rally. So number 1, Phoenix more active on the map to see the push coming. Number 2, Phoenix cut off the rally.
yes.
Number 3, wait for Psystorm. You do those, I think you've got that game, or at least it's a lot closer. It was pretty good build up though. Pretty good build up.
Okay. Yeah, also I had too few gateways just for. So
Did
I
you?
couldn't warp in. Yes, I couldn't warp in more items, but also 0 to tank.
Oh, did you go charge?
No. But
Oh, you were just going to go just to tank, just a few slow zealots on the
yeah,
ground.
I have resources. I use on 0 to help.
Right,
some way.
just as a few tanky boys on the ground, right. Which I guess is kind of useful. It's not the most important, but yeah, like, well, the thing is, you did build a lot of cannons on your third base early, and
Yeah.
if you're not going charge, I guess you kind of need to because you're not going to be able to clean up like stuff with charge zealots. It's interesting, man. I think I think even with your gateways being a little slow, I think you still could have been all right there, but it was pretty close. So yeah, let's just queue up another one. Let's go see if we can squeeze another game in quickly. Yeah, just cut off the reinforce if they are pushing like that, and
Yeah, also
don't engage
I
till
did
storm.
too few damage with Phoenix. I couldn't jump into the main and just got on the third too late. Too late
Yeah,
damage.
I mean he defended really well as well. Built a lot of queens.
Yes.
He built spores. So if your opponent builds that much defense, it does slow him down as well. So you can't always find crazy damage, but I love that you're like, man, I could have got a few more drones. That's a good attitude. So we've got PVT now. Let's murder some Terran, mate. Good luck, have fun.
Not enough minerals. Minerals now.
Stasis Ward is solving a problem by hoping the opponent makes a mistake, says Neon Blue. Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, stasis traps are this awesome thing you should try to mix in there if you've got leftover oracles. But Maxan says, with a very good timing, sometimes it's worth to engage the push early, pick off a few units, then retreat deep inside to rebuild interceptors. Absolutely it is. However,
Minerals now. Get them. Not enough minerals.
yeah, he didn't have any army to defend the third from Ling run-bys. Oh yeah, he did. He had adepts there. Or did he run all of his adepts across the map? He had 3 or 4 adepts. And he had 2 gateways. So I think that's fine. 5 adepts plus you got a void ray. That's more than enough. I think his third's fine. You guys were talking there about about the carriers. I mean, it does take a long time to refill carriers these days. Remember, like it used to be something where you could do that 3 times before your natural was dead. Engage out front, pull back, engage while your natural's like starting to take damage, pull back, natural dies, and then you clear their army with your third rebuild of interceptors. It was the most fucking OP shit ever, man. Every Zerg was like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious, bro? Yeah, this is a Phoenix build, so there's no oracles here, but Maxan's just talking about his build on blue. Maxan does a normal oracle build into this sort of thing, so He's just saying, look, you know, with my 2 oracles, I come back and drop stasis, which is absolutely what you'd do with this sort of style if you have early oracles. How you doing, Deathsbane? Oh, holy shit. Deathsbane says, Pig, don't fear, my friend. I'm not a world-famous runner. Dude, yeah, I thought... Guys, Deathsbane fucking tweeted me this morning in response because I did my first half marathon yesterday, and I did 2 hours and 2 minutes. I was really proud of that, which is like, you know, the sort of time that's like really fucking good for a full marathon. If you're a real competitive, like, athlete, if you're like a pro runner, you know, it's like 2 hours for an actual 42-kilometer marathon. I did 21. So Deathsbane tweeted me. He's like, oh, that's cool, man. He's like, yeah, my best for 20 kilometers is 58 minutes. And I was instantly like, what the fuck? And I was like, I immediately Googled world record because I knew that was close to the world record. And half marathon world record is like 57 minutes, 32 seconds. And I was like, dude, you're like, okay, you're 1 kilometer shorter, but you're still 30 seconds off the world record and only running 1 kilometer less. Like you're literally one of the best long distance runners in the world. Like, what? So good shit, man. Good shit. No, that's good though. 10 kilometers, 58 minutes. Nice. That's awesome, man. That's good pace. I actually did, so I think I did, because I obviously started faster, right, yesterday, and this is faster than I normally run, but I ate a few cookies before I went, and I was fucking super motivated to just do an epic run. I took the day off, exercised completely the day before as well, just out of laziness. Other than, like, what did I have? I had a short walk the day before. So, I think I probably got, in the first hour, I think I got up to, like, 12 kilometers? 12? Was it 12? That would be 5-minute pace. Not quite. No, it probably would have been, like, 11 and a bit in the first hour. Maybe 11 and a half. Ah, no, he even had the probe there, but he wasn't watching. Oh, fuck. Ow. Well, good probe micro so far. Unfortunately, focused on the Reaper. One of his stalkers has gone walkabout. Oh, he sent them back to mining already? Oh my god, he's so lucky the Alien and the Reaper were focusing single units, dude. Oh my god. That could have been worse. Okay, so what's kind of cool about this? Whoops, sorry guys. Did I just... My bad. PVT game. So, had probe in position.
Not enough minerals.
Can even build the gateway ahead of time and just completely block these builds. Gate block is so cheap compared to letting them in. So I think that's actually a really cool thing that some people do. After damage, After damage, what do we do?
Not enough minerals.
Immediate re-rally of probes. Plus chrono. That was awesome. Now he's trying to do a stalker drop. Stalker drop counter attack. What the fuck is he doing? Drop. Go. Click on it. Banshee follow-up is very common for Hellion opening. So very important to have extra obs at home, which you had. Well done. Oh, he's fucking this guy up. Does he have a Robo Bay though? Yeah. This is what I was saying is I was like, he better have an observer at home. Because I know, like, you know a Banshee's, like, that's just how this build order works. Any Hellion opening, it's very common for there to be a Banshee. Where's his Colossus? This is a good push from the Terran. Yeah, what's his unit count, though? No Robo Bay? Question mark?
They're attacking our cute little probe. You're gonna need a tad bit more energy. Not enough.
Oh, the probe pull is good, I think. I think it's a good probe pull, but not quite enough units. He's got to drop on the tanks. Oh, you drop on the tanks. But more Marines come in. Another 10 Marines walk in. Youchies. All right. GG. You got a really bad habit. Both games you left without pressing the rewind button. That is a terrible habit. How often do you press rewind?
Almost no game. But if I mean, I want to watch a replay, I don't press rewind, then I re-go into the replay.
Press it now. Press it now. Let's quickly go through that replay. So we're out of time, so we've got to finish up. But you do rewind every game, and even if you don't want to look at the replay, force yourself to build that habit. What you want to do is you play the rewind game. So the rewind game is what you do. So what I want you to do, go to a corner of the map, get rid of the production tab. Don't look at anything. So go 8 times speed and close your eyes. Don't look at your screen. Go to the very end of the replay. I'll tell you when we're there. Close your eyes. Don't open your eyes, okay? So play the rewind game. So the rewind game, just listen, don't open your eyes. It is something in the game that you didn't understand or you're not sure about. Maybe you're saying, ooh, I think like that push, right, kind of surprised you, right? So maybe you go, okay, I think that was a 2 base push of 30 SCVs. Maybe you think it's that. Like, so what do you think? How many workers do you think the Terran had when he pushed you in that game?
Like 2 base saturated.
So how many total workers? Like all 4 gases? 40,
50.
40, 50? Okay, awesome. Yeah. So now we're at the end of that game. Let's go check. So this is what you do with the rewind game. You always ask yourself a question. And then you go check. So you thought 40 to 50 workers 2 base. So let's go back to when he moved out with his workers. Maybe 1 minute back in the replay. You can open your eyes now.
Okay.
So go back like 1 minute when he moves out. And how many workers does he have?
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is why we always play the rewind. I didn't realize he only had 20 as well. I was like, man, this tank push is so scary. I didn't understand how it was so fast. So the thing is, you have an idea of what happens in a game, even as a GM player and pro players. Like there are times when a pro player is a bit upset or something or a bit confused. There have been times in the past where I've been like, oh, what do you think like that was? You know, like I purposely kind of like get them to guess it because it's so easy to think what's happening in a game. But if something feels unfair, it's usually because we've misread the situation. There's something we're not taking into account. That push felt unfair. Yeah. That felt way too powerful. And if we look at it in hindsight, wait a second, we're taking a 3rd base. We're going observers, stalkers. We're not getting Colossus or Charge or anything that's good at fighting or Immortals because we just assumed he was macroing up afterwards. We assumed, and it wasn't. So the rewind game is where you ask yourself a question. Something like, how many workers does he have? And if you can build a habit of doing this after every single game, you'll see me do this on the stream all the time. I click rewind or I finish the game and I go, yeah, I think that was like off, I think it was a 60 drone roach timing. And then even if I've exited the game, I look at the worker graph and I go, oh, what the fuck? This guy only had 30 workers? What the hell? Like, how did I misread this game so badly? So this forces you to close the distance between what your perception of a game is and what the reality of a game is. How many workers did he have when he pushed? That sort of shit. What were his upgrades at the end? You go, I think he had 2-2. You look at it, he had no upgrades or something. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like that sort of shit happens all the time. So playing this game, it's so easy to just close that game, go, I got caught off and have a totally wrong read of what you should have done better in that game because you didn't actually look at the reality of it. The rewind game, it's like this self-improvement godlike tool. It makes you such a better player.
I always feel like the opponent has a better economy than me almost all the time, so I tend to be greedy on the macro to tight up things. But sometimes they are just all in on 3 bases or there are fake for Hatch maybe, and they are just all inning, and I went full probes on Chronobus on Nexus, and I just lost to Roach Push.
Yeah, your default mode is to be a greedy bastard, which is awesome. Yeah. You're really good at being greedy. I love it. But it's just so cool because now we can like go back in this game. I think you scouted early really well, right? Did you see the command center was late?
Yeah, I sent the probe back in later while I first scouted for some proxies.
Yeah,
check if there's natural or not.
Yeah, so you knew he was being a cheeky fucker, right? This is awesome. So you had great scouting. When he comes in, you were ready for it. So go look to when the Hellions run, and it's 20 seconds from now. Yeah. It's about 3:45. Just build a gateway. So when they delay their expansion like this,
to build the block, but I misclicked a lot. And
You know what though? You know the timing now. 3:45 is when this can come in. Just build it before he gets there. Literally 3:40. Just put a gateway down. It's 150 minerals, which you'll be able to cancel and get most of it back. And just that gateway there, it buys you time to warp in a round of units. You cancel your gateway at like 4 minutes 30 just before it finishes. Easiest game of your life,
Yeah.
right? Like look at your probe advantage. Look at the workers tab, the units tab right now. So you're going to keep building probes. You're going to be at like 40 workers, 2 mineral lines. He's got nothing. Now look at his follow-up. Now you knew it was Banshees, right? Did you know it was Banshees? Because it's usually Banshees is a big option after Hellions.
yeah,
It doesn't
I
have to
feel
be,
like
but yeah.
I built the observer to be safe, but I wasn't really sure if I was Banshee.
I would have chrono boosted an observer rather than a warp prism because we don't know. What if he gets a medevac? Like if he doesn't, say you wall him out, we don't know if a medevac's going to elevate the Hellions into our base or what. So rather than counter pushing and leaving almost nothing at home right now, I would have just chrono boosted an observer across to check the follow up. And obviously, if we look at it, we can see this is literally the most all-in desperate Terran you've ever fucking seen in your entire life, right? No add-ons on his 3 barracks. This has got no follow-up at all. This is like when you do, you know, the Marjorie build, where you do just 32 probes, no gas mining charge lot. Like, there's no follow-up to that build.
To do it a lot when the charge was good.
Yeah, this is the Terran version of that build. Like, you can literally hold this with less workers than the Terran has, and then you're still ahead, just because they have no fucking follow-up. There's no development of the tech, right? You're just like, this is just one of those builds. This is like seeing a proxy barracks, where you're like, this is not someone's gonna pressure you with some units. This desperate attack needs to fucking do huge damage. Like, it needs to basically cripple you, or he's just screwed. He's not building workers. He's pulling workers into the fight. The command center is literally just there to be like, oh, I'm totally expanding, Protoss player. Yeah, I totally have an He doesn't even really use it because he's only got 20 friggin' workers or whatever it was. So that's actually so powerful, just realizing that. And you can kind of say, oh yeah, you know what? It's easy to feel I've got to take a third, I've got to probe back up because I took all that Hellion damage. But that's all solved if you just walled off with the gateway early to be safe. You just full wall your base against any Hellion opening or anything that's really sketchy like that sort of build. And then you just go, okay, probe up your 2 bases, get your observer over for scouting, and go straight for Colossus, right? We could have had a Colossus ready for this push. Look, we got 600 gas. But because we took all that mineral damage and then we were rebuilding, that was a problem. So it's that's just the way it goes. Maybe we could have pulled off gas a little bit after we lost all those probes and then slowly put them back in the gas. Who knows? But I think overall, just that habit of rewinding, you've got enough game knowledge to improve. It's about building that habit of always going, this is what I think happened in that game, and make yourself commit to a clear rule. Like I said, how many workers does he have when he moves out? That's like always a good one. How many upgrades did he have at the end of that game or when that really important fight happened? And you say what you think the upgrades were on both sides, you go check. Like, this is such a good way to improve your theory and your understanding. So I love doing that little exercise. And yeah, I think that's fun, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just freak out because the Banshee I recall and I didn't think.
The Stalker pressure seems like a good idea, but like it's pretty low value. It's very dangerous because you don't know what his setup is because he's delayed his expansion. So it's just like building a prism, building Stalkers. They're just such low damage units. Even when you caught him with no defense, you didn't really kill that much with it, right? It's not like getting a bunch of charge zealots in a base. So I think in general, the Stalker drop is not a very powerful move. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to put some pressure on his side to force him to stay home. But yeah.
Yeah, I think just a little bit more defense because honestly, off these delayed expansion openings, this sort of follow-up is very common. A lot of Terrans are just going for crazy all-ins. If they delay their expansion because they are so far behind in the macro game, they just kind of go, nope, extra barracks, tanks, Banshees, Marines, let's go. But yeah, good games overall, dude. So we've got to finish up now. I got to get into playing some arcade games. So serious business. But good stuff, mate. Hit me up whenever you want to set up another session. And yeah, I look forward to hearing how the mechanics practice goes. I think it could go really well. So just give it a go and hit me up whenever you want to set up another session, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much for the time. Also, maybe I would message you on Discord to ask a few tips if I
Of
feel
course.
like I need some.
No worries.
And enjoy your stream.
No worries, mate. Have a good evening. I'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Good night, mate.